สวัสดีเจ้า
สวัสดีเจ้า
I'm Pim Kemasaki, and this is my friend Max Thamarak.
ครับผม
So today we're back on the daybed because the weather has got a little bit nicer, so we can go back to the aircon, and we're going to talk about tourism. So Max, I've known since, well, let's just say a long, long time. I used to do ballet with his sisters, and it was not a good look for me at all. But we were friends from childhood. We've known each other, many, many decades. And his family is one of the older, more established tour companies, right, in Chiang Mai.
Right, there weren't many of them.
No. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I moved to Chiang Mai when I was 4 years old, so which makes makes that 42 years ago. And my parents started a tour company called Intco Travel, and we were inbound agent.
Intco.
Intco, right. Yeah. Thank you for helping me with my company.
Reiterate the PR marketing.
Yeah. And I'm a second generation owner, and we are a tour operator here in Chiang Mai, and we also own 3 hotels in this area as well.
So you own Hmong Lodge.
The Hmong Lodge, the Legend.
The Legend in Chiang Rai.
And Lampang River Lodge.
Lampang Lodge. So these are all really, really well-established properties that did exquisitely well until recently, which we'll be talking about, sure. So Max, apart from that, do you have a role in the tourism industry apart from your own personal career?
Well, I try to help out anywhere I can, and I was also the board of Tourism Association here also, and also right now I'm the ambassador for Thailand for World Food Travel Association. So that's
so World Food and Travel Association, 150,000 members.
Yeah, over.
And you're the Thai ambassador.
Yeah, so I'm promoting Thailand for the World Food and Travel.
You just got that title just before the pandemic, didn't you?
Yes.
It was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I remember we were talking, and you're going to do so many grand plans and events, and you're going to promote Chiang Mai as this culinary food destination. And then,
wow, yeah, a lot of things happens when COVID occurred.
Yes. So, Chiang Mai tourism. Can you give us a little bit of a background as to how it came about? Historically, like who came first? What did they do? What was the tourism? What did it look like in the early days?
Well, the early days when I arrived here, 42 years ago, I was 4 years old. Chiang Mai was a very small town.
Yeah.
You don't have what we have today. You have one kanto. You have 2 elephant places. Okay. I live in front of Chiang Mai University, so in that area now it's very, very beautiful.
What's that in Wolin?
No. Muban Villa Aping.
Oh, I didn't know.
You know, boat restaurant.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
right
it.
there.
Oh.
Right. So before it was a bunch of junkyard. There was some strawberry field around that area. We used to go for a bike after.
I used to go bike rides there after school.
Right. So there was no wall between us and the CMU. So you have some people who have some interest in it. Same thing they're doing now. Culture, also history, and then arts. But much smaller scale.
Well, they group tours to start with.
Yeah, there were group tours. We also sell tickets from Scandinavian Airlines. I still have the map, the world map from SAS.
Yeah.
Which still have USSR in it.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
So that was the time.
Not showing our age here at all, are we?
So that was Chiang Mai. I know, and also Chiang again, as you know, there's nothing here, right?
But tourism itself, because I remember it seemed to be very organized tourism then. So you had the hand route where they went and stopped off all the factories, they bought all the silverware.
Right. There's only a few things to do in Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai was a very small town, and everybody sort of have similar itinerary.
Mm.
And there was only city hotels as opposed to now where you have city hotel, but more modern, more posh, and you have homestay, you have farm stay, you have eco lodges, you have glamping, camping.
Yeah.
So you have all sort of direction you can go to nowadays. Before it was more narrow.
When did it all change?
I would say the internet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the internet. Everybody see everything. Everybody's you have different way of promoting the products as opposed to through the travel agent, right?
Yeah.
And now you promote different ways. You have influencer, you promote through not just the TAT, you promote through your own channel, and the internet is a major part of that.
So when did you get involved? Probably about the internet time, no? A bit later than that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I came back and I was working in different field. I was in advertising before I joined tourism, and that was when
He's a tennis player.
actually I finished Mo3, so grade 9 here in Sahit, Chiang Mai, and then I went to Florida to the tennis academy,
Yeah.
well-known tennis academy, Nick Bollettieri, which is now IMG Academy at the moment. And I went to Michigan University called Fair State University. It's a state university, and graduated in tennis management.
Tennis management, all the skills you need to promote the tourism industry in Chiang Mai. So with your, back hand in hand, you've come back. And so what was the state of the tourism then, and how did you get involved?
I worked in an advertising agency for about 3 years.
Bangkok?
BBDO Bangkok. We were doing a lot of different advertising campaigns. And then I moved to Phuket for about 6 years. Yeah,
So
before moving here.
So you got your non-family experience down.
Yeah, I've been working for somebody else for about a decade.
Yeah. So, okay, let's come back to Chiang Mai tourism, right? So it all, as we were saying earlier, it was very group tour, like in the 80s, right? And then the independent travelers then tended to be the backpackers, is that correct?
Yes, and then also arranged for, come in buses and so on.
Yeah.
So very set itinerary, and really not much of a variety.
Even the backpackers, I remember in the 90s when my friends came back from uni, they all thought they were being independent, but they all did the same thing. They all went on a trek, they smoked the opium, they rode an elephant, they did the bamboo rafting. It was just a circuit, wasn't it? There was nothing particularly unique about those experiences.
Yeah, Chiang Mai was still very new to tourism at that time. I remember since I was young, working with my parents now, looking back, you can see how it changed. Everything changes, right? And you have to adapt to the situation.
I was speaking to Dan Witty in one of the interviews earlier, and he was saying that Chiang Mai women in particular are extremely suited to tourism because throughout history we've been at the crossroads of trade. So we have, by nature, had to welcome strangers. Have you noticed that we have perhaps a personality trait that might be sort of rather good for tourism?
I do. I think that I think we have our Lana culture, which is very strong identity, and then Chiang Mai is very relaxing, very artsy, and it's very cool and hip, and people are laid back. So I think a lot of ways when people want to come to the north, they want to experience it.
But does that mean that we make less money? Because we're so bloody chilled here, aren't we? We're not selling sort of like jet skis, like high value stuff, are we?
I think it's just different direction. We are here also because we see this kind of peaceful, serenity kind of feel. I think that's very important.
But again, it's not conducive for making lots of.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we have going for us. A lot of things, maybe not so much.
So let's talk about that. We're now at a point where everyone is saying there has to be a paradigm shift, there has to be a great reset, there has to be change. So up until this point, what did we get right?
Up until before COVID? Well, I think that we have a lot of things that haven't yet to be explored.
Really? Like what?
Yeah, like we have over a dozen national parks, and we have natural resources, we have water resources, we have a long-standing history, we have different hill tribes, we have different area that we haven't yet explored. We have so much to offer, but we keep selling and beating on the same dead horse.
Why? Yeah, you're one of the guys who is selling. Are you beating on the same dead horse?
No, I believe I'm beating on a new horse.
That's nice, lucky horse.
But I think that there have to be a sort of tipping point until somebody want to change.
So, you talk about national parks, and that's something I'm quite interested in because, as you said, we've got millions, right, or potentially, I think, of national parks in the north that are yet unexplored. They don't have proper tracks. They don't have proper safety measures in place. They don't have the right toilets. They don't have the proper signage. They don't. Most that don't even open up. Most of them public because of dangers. So, would that be something you think we could work on?
Yeah, definitely. I think Chiang Mai resource management is a big problem.
Who's managing our resources?
Well, you have different entity managing different things. Sometimes it's very hard, even in tourism, right? You have the TAT, they say they're only promoting tourism, but then if you want stat, you go to sports and tourism department, and if you want to talk about a guide and so on, you go to another department.
Oh.
So you have to go to the right direction in order to make something happen to start with.
You see, and I've been a journalist for a long time, and I don't even know where to go for the right information because it's just so convoluted. But do they even know who does what?
Well, if you ask certain sector, they probably know, but you have to go to a few of them until you understand how the organization chart work and so on.
That's not how it should be, surely.
Surely not.
So, as a member of the tourism industry and now ambassador, do you have any sway on these officials?
Right now, I think we are facing a lot of problems, and if you want to list them out, I think we have a lot of more important problems also. For example, right now in Chiang Mai, right, before we talk about our friend, our competitors, association, or the Chiang Mai city, we have to talk about long term sometimes, right? So 2019, Chiang Mai sold about 3 million room nights. So which is not bad, before COVID, right?
3 million room nights in the whole year.
In the whole year in Chiang Mai.
That's not huge, is it?
Well, it's not huge. Chiang Mai is never going to be like one of the mass kind of like tourism space.
But how many tourists have we had in Chiang Mai that year?
Right now we're doing probably less than 4,000.
Okay, but pre-COVID
we were doing pretty well at 3 million, right? Room night.
Look, I'm just interested in how many came. You were giving me a stat there.
Yeah. So okay, about almost 11 million people came to Chiang Mai.
So where did they all stay if they only had 3 million room nights?
See, sometimes that's a stat for the hotel, right?
What?
But 70% are Thai travelers, and the other 30% are foreign travelers.
But Thai travelers have to sleep too.
Right, and that's also difficult because sometimes the hotel that we have, and then there's also other places they can stay in, and that doesn't being registered as a hotel, maybe some sort of apartment and so on.
But still not 10 million or whatever. It seems like the numbers are just not making that much
sometimes
sense.
Getting numbers is also difficult, and it's not too accurate. So we are extremely oversupplied. The price goes down, right? Everybody's cut costs. And I went to Chiang San a few days ago, and I looked up on the OTA. And there are many online travel agents. Sorry, and there were hotels with 80-90% discount. So that's what happened here in Chiang Mai as well.
Yeah.
We don't have enough supply. I mean, we don't have enough demand. Sorry.
There's plenty of
too much supply.
Yeah, we're here in Nimani, and I'm looking around, and there's at least 3-4 new hotels opened up before the pandemic. What's true?
A lot of people, I must say that when they don't know what to do, they follow others.
Lemmings.
Maybe it's something I should say.
Right?
I'm not certain, but if I were to start a business and I look at the market, right, and it's extremely supply, I'm not sure I want to start this business
No.
unless you really have the heart and soul and money for this.
So people are talking a lot about, the big shift, the COVID, the paradigm shift, the Great Reset, whatever. And they're saying that things like habits are going to change. People are now traveling much closer to home. They're more community-based. They're looking for environmental and sustainable destinations, less crowded, and health and hygiene, right? So how does Thailand fare on all of these?
Well, I think we have to make a lot of adaptation to the new changes.
Yeah.
I think we are doing a lot of things right.
Such
but
as?
I think what we do in terms of safety and so on, when people come in
Yeah.
and they feel like, okay, it's hygienic, it's clean everywhere, there are hand gel or people wear masks. In
Actually,
places.
I've got an interesting fact. The Global Health Security Index puts Thailand as 6th out of 195 countries in the world for health and security. So we're all
There you go. So that part where we do okay, and we are opening up our country again.
yeah.
So and then we have to maybe focus on different kind of tourism.
So things like community based, we've been trying to do that. We've been by decentralizing for quite a while, but more airports, secondary cities. Within the government's doing enough work here to decentralize tourism.
Right now, I think also again with TAT, they kind of see that we are oversupplied, so they're promoting a lot of beaches, destinations, and hotels, and you see a picture with the boats and so on, right?
What's that mean?
So that means they're not promoting so much in our destination. We have to find our identity maybe more than we're doing right now in terms of maybe community tourism is the future, maybe sustainable tourism is the future.
Well, sustainable tourism. I've got another fact for you. This one's not impressive at all. Environmental sustainability by the World Economic Forum 2019 puts Thailand at 130th of 140 countries.
I would like to change that.
How?
Well, I have a resort in the mountains. It's called the Hmong Travel Lodge.
You've had it for decades, right?
Yes.
You've had these
So maybe I went there the first time I was 11 years old, so I'll make it 35 years ago.
Let's not keep talking about our age.
At that time, it was difficult to get to the lodge. It takes 2.5 hours to get to the lodge. Nowadays, only about an hour.
Yeah. Right, okay. But
Yeah,
so
it's
you were one of
easier.
the first companies to start doing this with eco-sustainable.
That's right.
How did people take it in those days?
Well, they find it very exciting because they have all the luxury that the Western world has to offer, and they want to see what Chiang Mai or Thailand is like.
Right. You two travel, go downstairs and say,
Not just the city hotels, but we started off with 40 rooms inside the Hill Tribe community in the Hill Tribe village. And we were a part of the community, and they get to experience that exotic part of Thailand.
which brings me to issues that are on the ethical cusp,
Okay.
especially with Western sort of left progressive thought. Things like how we handle elephant tourism and how we handle hill tribe tourism. Can you comment on some of that?
Well, elephant has always been a part of Chiang Mai and part of our long history. But somewhere along the line, again, over tourism, you have people coming in and ride elephants with, bus loads of people coming in. When you see this, it makes you feel sad and you want to join Greenpeace and PETA and all these groups, right?
Not Peter.
Well, but, sorry.
Don't like them.
Well, but when you see this kind of thing, right? So you want to you want to make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now we have a lot of different elephant experience. Those are our company that we work with. Elephant experience where you can have interaction up close.
Yeah. But yet there's no real standard. Like, you can advertise and say, oh, I love elephants. I let them roam the wild. But secretly, you can chain them at night and put spikes in them. I mean, there's no authority to be giving, I mean, or is it just you have to do the best that you can do as a company? I mean, how do you find out who are the good guys, who are the bad guys in all this?
Well, we try to make the best judgment we can. We have the guideline from Born Free, from a few other entities
Okay.
that focus on this issue.
So there's no real, there's no governing body that sets standards and guidelines for this sort of thing.
Not that I know of.
Because that's another thing that we talked about, how the government is beginning to put in more regulations, you know, sort of not just for the health and safety, but things like double pricing. You know, apparently the government's rethinking a lot of the regulations governing tourism in Thailand. Is that true or not? I was looking at the Bank of Thailand visa report.
I don't have that information. I'm not
Okay.
certain
Oh,
of that.
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But what do you think about it? I mean, right now, is it a bit of a free for all in Thailand when it comes to tourism? Should we have stricter government control?
Well, we always welcome regulations, right? Especially when it comes to wildlife. Okay, and that's what they are. They are wildlife, and they have been a part of us. Like you know, you see them working with us before, right? But they have been a part of us. If they are not in tourism, then where are they going to be?
So how do you see the future of elephant tourism for us?
Well, I think it's going to be a lot more regulated in the future, and I think elephant is going to have more rights, and maybe a better life.
Well, I should
also.
hope so.
Yeah.
So what are you doing personally, you know, to get ready for hopefully masses of tourists returning?
Right now, I work a lot on sustainability at the Intco Lodge, and I want to do different project. Now we're doing plastic recycle. We're working with Green Road, recycle plastic for the Hill Tribe community. I want to do more community tourism.
Does that actually, I mean, sorry to be crass, but does it actually make money, or is it just window dressing that gets people, I mean, how much is it just sort of pakshi roi na, you know, window dressing, and how much is it sort of something that really can continue to be part of the national tourism culture?
Well, for me, I really believe in it because 2019, you know, we have 1.4 billion travelers around the world.
1.4 billion.
1.4 billion travelers at 2019 before COVID, right? And we were going to double that in 2030. So before until
much.
COVID happened, right?
How many to Thailand?
Oh, wow.
Actually, I think
You
I've
have
got
the
that.
number,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 39 million in 2019.
Right.
That's
So
a
before
lot.
the equation were simple, right? You have whatever sells, you sell it, and the best destination are the one that bring in the most people and therefore makes the most money.
And we
you
were
have-
ninth most visited country by the UNWTO in 2017 in the world.
Right.
That's pretty intense. And it went down to like a couple 100,000 in 2021, obviously.
Yeah, and then we have to think of the quality also, not just the quantity.
Okay, let's talk about
And
that.
then that's why I want to focus on the project that I'm doing, and I believe I want to do it for the whole community, not just plastic recycle. I want to do. I also have some land there where I grow fruits and vegetables, and some winter crops also, some avocado, some macadamia,
Yeah.
and coffee. So I want to do biotrash. So that's from earthworm.
Yeah.
So you create natural fertilizer instead of using a chemical one. And we work with the community because the community doesn't have garbage truck to come and collect the garbage. So all they do in their
Of course it
5
doesn't.
villages,
Yeah.
are the 5 villages, they have a pickup and they gather all the
Yeah.
trash. They bring it to the local to the biggest village in the area, which is Nong Hoi Gao, and then they can salvage whatever they can salvage, and then they burn the rest.
So with this, they can potentially make use of their garbage.
Yeah, I think they can recycle it.
Yeah.
And then they can, you know, with Green Road project, we can make we can make bricks out of it.
Yeah.
And we can teach. We want to start at the school, so we teach the young hill tribers about recycle.
Yeah.
And we start from there. So that's one of the
Where you start,
projects.
yeah. Dotted around these very dense mountains that have no access to any garbage disposal. Of course, they're just going to chuck it by the side
They're
right?
gonna burn it.
They're going to
It's
burn
also
it.
cause a problem, right? It's one of the
Thank God for this rain this
yeah.
year, no?
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
lucky, but we're probably not going to be always be
Yeah.
this lucky.
So do you think that Thailand's sort of devil may care, let's say, approach to the environment up to now has done us irreparable damage, or is it something that we can still sort of make a future from? Have we messed it up?
I think that COVID drew the line in the sand for us, and before that, people were saying that tourism growth is unstoppable, cannot be stopped.
Ooh,
Until it did,
it
right? Until
certainly
COVID did.
Yeah.
Drew the line in the sand for us. So we can't say that it's moving too fast and we can't turn it around. Now we can turn it around. That's why I believe in my project.
Yeah.
And I'm signing contract with some of the largest education network in the world who believe in this project.
What do you mean by education networks? What do you mean?
Education company that's sending different groups
Oh,
of
brilliant.
students. So they believe in the project that I'm working on.
So you pivoted. Is that how you're pivoting your company? You're changing your whole.
Well, I think adding to it, and then also looking toward the future, I can see that it's not necessarily the quantity or the big numbers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And now you have a different concept like over tourism or flight shamming. I believe
The what?
flight shamming.
What's that?
It's like you shame somebody for flying.
Oh, really? Flight shaming? Really?
Yeah. So
I know someone in Chiang Mai who always shames me for
That's a
flying.
new. That's a new.
Oh.
Oh, anyway. Right. So that's a new
Boo,
concept, right?
hiss.
So I work with those company. They're very large, and and everybody's trying to. It's not just maybe collecting garbage is a new thing. Maybe helping the community is a new thing.
But is it fun though?
I think to help somebody to see that you're doing something for the community and it give you deeper purpose.
I get that, but if I'm going to go on a holiday somewhere, I mean, do I want to be recycling garbage?
I mean, you're going to be doing other things also
I better
because
be. I better
because
bloody be.
these companies they run from weeks to months,
Okay.
and they get credits for this kind of thing, right?
Okay.
For community
So there's
service.
sexier offerings in the package.
I think
than-
green travel and so on, and I don't think it's just a concept. I after being a part of it, I really believe in it. I think people come and you learn new things about the sustainability. You learn new thing about local culture and community.
So give me like a little insight to, let's say I just contacted you from, I don't know, Las Vegas, and I want to come out for a few weeks and I want something different and new. What would you offer me?
I would say, can we do trading? No. I would say, what do you need? Because we're offering a variety of different programs, right?
But just pick some new things that I'd be like, ooh.
It's like, okay, if you're into experiences, how about we stay in the Eco Lodge, right? What do you feel about ecotourism? What do you feel about
Will
how
there
do
be
you
snakes?
feel? Well, hopefully not. No, I also don't like snakes.
I don't do snakes.
And we talk about our community, all right, and how beautiful it is, and if you like trekking, if you like to do some sort of adventure, do you like national park? Do you want to visit? What other places do you want to visit beside the iconic places that Chiang Mai is known about?
So that's obviously for organized tourism. But if you're an independent traveler, you come out here and you want to do these things, then we come up with another barrier, and that's Thailand's lack of proficiency in English. Is that going to be a problem? Like, are people going to be able to find some random, tribe in the mountains and go on their own, or is it something?
Well, I don't really recommend that because you might not get the experience that you're looking for. For us, we are very precise of where you're going to be staying. We know the kind of standard that you are seeking for, and we know the kind of program that you might like. Okay,
right.
And most of our clients are very, very satisfied.
Right.
So we have that experience. We can recommend something that's not totally out of your norm.
You've had some weird people come over. people who've just had different expectations of their time here and things funny like that?
Well, I mean, people are expecting something else totally, right? It's almost like the fire festival. They're expecting something and they're getting something else.
I hope you weren't the fire festival. So, but let's go back to the ethics, right, of hill tribe tourism, for instance. What do you think? Because your company was there right from the beginning when
That's right.
it was pretty much labeled hill tribes, right? Now there's a lot of, language that you have to be a lot more careful of when you're addressing various tribal people and various customs. Going to tippy toe some of the cultures that might not be so acceptable to international audience. I mean, is it something that's shifting and changing how tour companies react or deal with various tribal cultures?
We don't do sort of stage hill tribes.
Right.
So I'm sorry my language, but the human Sioux, right, was one of the term that
The
people
long
use
neck.
for putting hill tribers at a certain setup
Yeah.
to work there.
Yeah.
We don't really recommend that. We don't do that.
Right.
But we take them to see the real hill tribers,
Yeah.
which of course now is 2022. So everybody's might wear different kind of clothing as they were decades ago or
And you
40,
talk about
50 years ago.
their changing culture.
Yeah, talk about their
Right.
changing culture, talk about what they're doing then and what they're doing now, and also for me, community tourism is a big thing. So we were sort of being a part of them and they're part of us.
Yeah. So this is all quite macro, right, level. You're talking about little projects.
That's right.
So how is this going to be extrapolated, across the whole of Chiang Mai? I mean, how's our entire, I think we lost 60 billion baht. CNN reported Chiang Mai lost between January and June 2021. So, I mean, little projects like this aren't going to plug that 60 billion baht hole. How do you see the whole industry reviving?
Well, I think that comes from TAT, Tourism Authority Thailand, or a bigger organization. They have to promote local to global. They have to find a way to do that because it's way bigger than me.
I'm not banking on them. Are you?
And I mean, Chiang Mai, we have a lot of things going for us. We're one of the best city in the world, I think. And we're ranked in many magazine and television.
Repeatedly
Yeah.
ranked by multiple
Right.
publications and authorities at the top.
Right. So I think we have to find a way to control our resources. We have to find a way to deal with the oversupply situation.
How would you suggest?
Well, for example, there's a lot of forest encroachment for all these pots that you see in the mountains, right?
Pots.
Pots like a tent, but kind of like
The
plastic.
pods,
Yeah.
the tent pods.
Yeah, pots.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Oh, and
Those
Montam.
are illegals, right? And we have to find ways to control them. We have to find ways to control. For example, let's say Singapore. They have 60,000 room, okay, and you have 60,000 room night per night, and then they keep it this way. So even when it's full, the price goes up. Even a small room, probably as big as the couch we're laying on, right?
Really?
Probably
I
like
had to
10,000
stay.
baht.
Yeah, I had to stay at the YWCA in Singapore once because they had two multiple events and I had nowhere to stay.
So I think there's
Yeah.
a lot bigger than us, and for us, we
Yeah.
just have to continue to do the right thing, meaning that we don't damage our culture, our history, our natural resources, and we just hope for the long run.
So you're saying it's out of our hands, really,
That's
but yet
right.
we still have to do the right thing.
Yeah, for me, I do what's right for my company,
Yeah.
right? Which is a very small scale, but I believe that if you want quality tourism, this is it.
Okay, so I mean, do you know how many rooms we have in Chiang Mai? Do you know? Because I remember about 10 years ago we had 20,000 rooms in Chiang Mai. I don't know what that would be now, but you're saying that the whole of Singapore is 60,000.
Right. Well, I don't know if that's up to date stat, but at that time when I
Yeah,
went
mine's not up to date either, but
there,
it's interesting. So, what about, I mean, how would you personally promote Chiang Mai? If you were in charge of TAT, someone gave you a few $1 billion budget, off you go. What would you say to the world? Why would they want to come here?
I would say the national park,
Okay.
and I would say the food and the culture is one and the same.
What, let's talk about food now and your role as food travel and travel food
Well,
travel.
food ambassador,
Yeah.
World Food Travel
World Food Travel
Association.
Association, Thailand Ambassador. Yeah, tell us a little bit about how Thailand has, Chiang Mai, sorry, has sort of become a bit of a culinary city, would you say?
Yes, especially now Chiang Mai town and also CMU and Fin Center.
Can you tell our readers that? Because they might not know about these.
Okay, so Chiang Mai is promoting Lana Gastronomy with Chiang Mai University and also Fin Center, which is Food Innovation Packaging, yeah, Center.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they're promoting Lana Gastronomy.
And they've got
Uh,
big budget coming
yeah,
in,
and they're
right?
expecting I think half half a billion in revenue from Lana Gastronomy.
Yeah, I went to visit them and it's fascinating. So independent companies will go there with an idea and then the scientists, the designers, the packaging experts, the preservative processing people would help turn this idea into a sellable product as well as find a market for it. Is that correct?
From what I know of, yeah, but you certainly have more details than I do.
Journalists.
But I mean, I'm very excited about the
Yeah,
future
yeah.
of Lana Gastronomy and also in terms of what the chefs are doing with
Yeah.
local ingredients and so on.
Yeah, they also had an event at the Four Seasons not far long ago where they invited local Lana chefs to come and learn how to do molecular gastronomy with Lana food ingredients and flavors and tastes. So it's pushing the boundaries on all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
I can give you a couple of example, very good
please.
example. One is lap ton yang.
Yeah,
Lap ton yang, you know the minced fish,
yeah,
right?
lab.
Lap
Yeah.
ton yang, okay. They're doing a modern culinary technique called spearification. So
Yeah.
you're creating a soup and you make it into a spear.
Yeah.
So, and then that's kind of like from El Buri, Chef Ferran, kind of molecular gastronomy technique, right? So they do lap and then also with the spearification soup.
And where's the Ton Yang?
Well, Lap Ton Yang is a
Oh,
restaurant
is it?
name.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
in Wong Wan Song.
And I could go and have this?
Yeah, and then also in Lampang, I think they do Bouillabaisse de Chiang Mai.
Oh, I didn't order that. I was there the other day. What's
Yeah,
that?
Bouillabaisse is a classic French
Yeah.
dish from Marseille,
Yeah.
a fish stew, right? And then in the chef is using local ingredient, so they use tilapia, panin, using
Oh, okay.
great catfish, pa kot kang,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
also freshwater sea bass to create the bouillabaisse. And they'll
Nice.
use some rice and other local ingredient also.
I wouldn't mind trying that. Yeah. Go on, invite
Sounds
me.
good.
So there is a lot of innovation happening. So how do you think Chiang Mai fares when compared to Phuket or Bangkok as a culinary destination?
I think right now we are very experimental, and we have a good team and then the whole the government sector behind us.
Yeah.
So we're doing well in that regard. We just need to find a place that or find a way to promote it from
Market
local to global,
Yeah.
right?
That's the problem because, TAT promotes Thailand. I mean, no one's ever really specifically promoted Chiang Mai with one message. I mean, if you were to come up with a slogan for Chiang Mai, one message to the world, what would you say?
Well, we could be a gastronomy city.
But
We
isn't
could
that
be.
so tiny? There's so much more. There's environment.
Yeah, I know, but
that's
you
what's
said
so
one,
hard,
right?
right? But that's what's so hard.
Yeah, but also now with all this oversupply and you see people are dumping price, and I just heard from an agent that now there's package to Chiang Mai for 15,000 baht
From where?
from India, and it's only and for a week or something like this, huh?
What?
Crazy
Oh
number.
God, no! We don't want to become like a Corfu,
Yeah,
Lanzarote,
so
cheap destination for.
yeah, so
No.
the Thailand, tourism authority are trying to promote quality tourism, but with the situation nowadays, right? So you starting to see and hear some of this terrible news about people coming to Mai now city. This is why some people hate tourism,
So
right?
15,000 baht, they can literally fly here and stay for a week.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really worrying because that's not much money into any local pockets.
No, not at all. That's why we're talking about over tourism, right?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's not good. 12,000 restaurants in Chiang Mai. I mean, that's a phenomenal amount of restaurants.
A lot of people are still, well, eating, believe it or not. Well, now there's a lot of delivery, right? And
Yeah.
then people have to eat. Even though the tourism market is dead, people here still have to eat. So the right kind of, the certain restaurant flourish, right? While some just, that doesn't adapt to the situation, just have to go under the rug,
Yeah,
grub.
I know. But does the Raw project and all the work that's been done in the mountains with the hill tribes, is that helping out with the, with the food tourism?
I think we can be the kitchen of the world, especially the plantation of the world, right? We
Right.
grow winter crops and so on, right? And we're doing a good job of that. Different kind of winter fruits and vegetables.
The Raw
also.
project's tried nearly every imaginable crop, right? Through the
Yeah.
years.
And I also work with them with my group also.
Oh, really? So we do have the potential to be that food basket.
Yeah, we do, and we are very experimental, and I think we just need to have people who keen on promoting us and see our potential.
Right? It sounds like we have everything already, but we don't have marketing. Which is
topic.
actually something that my company does in case TAT wants to contact me at any time.
I think I'm excited about the future. I'm excited now. Now we're starting to have our student groups again returning after 2 years.
So for this summer, it's already beginning to happen, or is it for
Yeah,
the
it's
high
beginning
season?
to happen already. The regulations are starting to lift, and you're starting to see people wanting to travel. You're starting to see tourism wanting to return. People are planning, putting us on their
Are these-
bucket list and so
These
on.
new tourists or they're repeat tourists who are coming back?
Both. Like for example, I work with the Educational Company, which is the largest in the world, and they also they have different kind of groups coming in. A lot of them are very young, first-time traveler. So first time in Asia, first time away from home.
So the secret is to get them to fall in love so they can come back again and again and again and again and again.
Kind of like McDonald's, right?
No, not like McDonald's. Not like McDonald's.
Well, but there was the research, right? People
Right,
go there
yeah.
because they remember this feeling,
Yeah.
right? So for us, we're looking forward to our project, to helping out the community. We're looking forward to return tourism maybe next year. We are holding on
Hopefully.
to whatever we can
Yeah.
to make make that distance.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about how I mentioned earlier
Yeah.
about how people are traveling closer. So obviously that is going to cut out a lot of Europeans and Americans and Australians, whatever. So we're looking to China again, right? So China was made up about what, 25% of our visitors?
From my research, it's about 33%.
33% of our
Yeah.
visitors.
So now China is closed at the moment.
Yeah.
So we got no Chinese tourists. Also Taiwan
Yeah.
in that area. So we have to wait and see.
Is that
maybe
who we
next
should
year.
be appealing to? Chinese, Indians,
I think we
Singaporeans?
trying to appeal to everyone. However, we have to have our standard also, right? We can't just become this mass tourism loser.
No, God, that would be awful if we're like, oh,
Yeah, that's why people hate
Ibiza or
tourism.
something.
And actually, people hate tourism is the same way that people love tourism. Meaning that, let's say people who hate tourism in Chiang Mai, they don't want bad tourism to come in and ruin their city. Mind their elephant or mind their location,
Yeah.
wherever they want to go, they love, right? And for people who love tourism, say, oh, I want to bring in people, show them my town,
Yeah.
what we got, the beauty of Chiang Mai.
So what do we do with the bad people, the exploiters? You know, and you know that there's many operators here who have been very naughty over the years.
I think regulation is one, and the government have to come in and help us out in terms of regulation, forest enroachment. It's a big,
Yeah.
it's a big part.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever business you do, if you enroach the forest,
Yeah.
this kind of thing, it's not good.
Yeah.
And also come and set up certain regulation, please, because resource management is what's lacking in Chiang Mai.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think we have a lot of strength in Chiang Mai, and we have wonderful roots and DNA, and we just sometimes it just takes time. You know, COVID maybe 2-3 years, but if you think about it, if you were to do a 30 years tourism business, it's only 10%.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay,
if you look at it in the long run.
Has there been an upside to the last, you know, the pandemic?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, people are starting to think about tourism and how can we reimagine tourism? How can we build back better? How can we create something that give more than we take?
So there's more of you out there. There are more people, more operators. You know people in the industry who are actively doing this and spending the pandemic changing the game.
I think COVID make us all think. We have to adapt to the market.
So thank you very much, Max Thammaraks.
ขอบคุณครับ Thank you
And
พี่พิมพ์
good luck, my love. And you can
Thank
bring
you for
wine
having me.
anytime,
Thank you for having
even
me.
if it's red or white, I don't care. And thank you. สวัสดีเจ้า
สวัสดีครับ